little bit of it, just to give us a flavor. But it's a very nice purport. It's almost 8 pages. We'll just read one paragraph. Yeah. We'll have a kids program downstairs for all the kids if they like to go. Kids may have more fun than adults. So the purport reads, obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Vasudeva directly indicate Lord Sri Krishna, who is the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. This fact will be more explicitly explained in the text of this work. Sri Vyasadeva asserts herein that Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and all others are his direct or indirect plenary portions or portions of the portion. Srila Jiva Goswami has even more explicitly explained the subject matter, which means all attractive. In Bhagavad Gita and many places, the Lord asserts himself to be the original personality of Godhead, and this is confirmed by Arjuna, and even by great sages like Narad, Vyas, and many others. In the Padma Puran, it is also stated that out of the innumerable names of the Lord, the name of Krishna is the principal one. Vasudeva indicates that the plenary portion of the personality of Godhead in all different forms of the Lord, being identical of Vasudeva, are indicated in this text. The name Vasudeva particularly indicates the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. Sri Krishna is always meditated upon by the Paramahamsas, who are the perfected ones among those in the renounced order of life. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamstra Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Trubhyascha Rupa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'll just recite the verse again. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmaryasya Yatonvaya Ditarthashtrateshva Bhigna Swarat Tene Brahma Ridadi Kavaye Muyanti Yad Suryaha Tejovari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatrati Sargo Mrisha. When we say seed mantra, it means from this the whole Srimad Bhagavatam emanates. So it's a very powerful mantra, very powerful verse. And there is one theme throughout this verse that is explained. What is that theme within this verse? What are we hearing? Huh? Srimad Bhagavatam, yeah. Krishna is the Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we chant this Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Right? Bhagavate means personality of Godhead. So, Srila Vyasadeva, very interestingly, is starting this entire Srimad Bhagavatam with the statement about Lord Krishna. So let us discuss a little bit about what is Srimad Bhagavatam and how fortunate we are to be in the presence of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is extremely fortunate to be in the presence of Srimad Bhagavatam. The value of Srimad Bhagavatam is incalculable. As we describe in every time we have this wonderful opportunity to be in the presence of Srimad Bhagavatam, welcoming Srimad Bhagavatam. Today, Prabhuji and Mataji have opened their homes and their hearts to all of us so that we can participate. We congratulate them on this most wonderful opportunity, decision, and desire to have Srimad Bhagavatam. Because actually we don't even know how valuable and fortunate we are, nor can we really comprehend in its entirety how valuable it is. But let us try to at least get a glimpse of it with today's discussion. So, it's explained that if you take all of the value of the entire material world, all the wonderful features of the whole world, and you put it on one side of a scale, all the wonderful facilities, the jewels, the resources, different facilities, not just of this world, even all the heavenly planets, where there are even far superior opulences than what we see here. And not just the opulences of one very wealthy individual, but accumulate all of it. Each and every piece of it. And you put it on one side of a scale. Oh, not a literal scale, but a figurative scale. And then the other side you put Srimad Bhagavatam. This Srimad Bhagavatam will tip the scale. Meaning, it is explained that if we lose everything in the material world, but somehow Srimad Bhagavatam is preserved, actually nothing is lost. Now that's, our mind immediately goes, that's cute, that's some fanciful, hyperbole, exaggeration. But it actually is factually correct, and we can get some understanding of that. Why do we acquire things in the material world? Why do we acquire different things, cars, phones, TVs, big houses, wonderful clothes, jewelry? What is the purpose of acquiring these things? We want some happiness from it. Is there any other reason for it? In the end of the day, everything we are striving for is for happiness. And what kind of happiness do we want? We want short-term happiness or we want long-term happiness? Long-term. Permanent?
Yes.
Anybody wants just temporary? No, we want permanent happiness. And we want it in small amounts? Unlimited amounts, right? We want full. Well, that is good. So we have established a goal of life, finding unlimited happiness in permanent state. When we get anything, I got my iPhone, wherever it is. Did I find unlimited happiness? Permanent happiness? Few moments, oh, I got my phone, my new phone. iPhone came out. Whatever it is. But the rasa, the experience of happiness in anything we've achieved, in time what happens? It dissipates. To the point we even forget. We forget. Right? So this is the nature of all material things. So in the end, what is its real value? You know, our happiness is so, in some ways we can say shallow, that because somebody has established that these, rocks have some value, when I get those rocks, I get happiness. What rocks am I talking about? Diamonds. Diamonds. What are diamonds? They're just some rocks, some compressed pieces of coal found in some mine. But because that has been ascribed some value, but what is the actual value from that? What do we get from it? What tangible benefit do we get from it? Beyond admiration of others, what do we actually get from it? So, this is the nature of material happiness. It's actually quite fragile, and in many ways it's quite, we can say the word contrived or manufactured.
Relative.
Yeah, relative is always the case in this world. So that's the nature. But what is the nature of happiness from Srimad Bhagavatam then? Right? So if this is going to tip the scale, as I said, what is the nature of happiness from Srimad Bhagavatam? So Srila Vyasadeva, he went through this own journey in his own process of compiling Srimad Bhagavatam. Because we know Srila Vyasadeva, he compiled some Shastra. Lots? Lots. Right? So he began compiling the Vedas and putting to writing all of the Vedas. Right? Of course, where do the Vedas originate from? Krishna. He is the source, right? Vedaischa sarve aham eva vedya. He is the source of the Vedas. So, but Srila Vyasadeva began to compile and write the Vedas. Put it to writing. And then, all of the Upanishads. Then, all the Puranas. And like this, huge volumes of Shastra. And at the end of this giant project being completed, we would think, wow, he would feel so satisfied. Because in writing all of this, what is he doing? He's relishing. He's enjoying all of its contents. Right? So, what was his feeling? He was feeling not fulfilled. He was feeling partially empty. In some ways you can say he was feeling as if he had accomplished nothing. You can say he was feeling fully empty. And that was very perplexing to him. He was confused. How can this be? I've just accomplished something of extraordinary significance. I've had the great fortune of reciting all of the vast Vedic literatures. But I'm not feeling fulfillment in my heart. So he was very confused. So what did he do? He went to his guru. And Narada Muni instructed him. Why you are feeling this? Because you have not come to the root cause of all causes. Sarva Karana Karanam. You have not come to the source, the ultimate absolute truth. What is that? He says, you have not spoken directly about Lord Shri Krishna. And until you do, you'll not feel complete. Because Krishna, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the absolute truth. And because He is Purnam, complete, our own completeness can only be experienced in relationship with Krishna. So Srila Vyasadeva then was instructed that you should now write about Krishna directly. So in that spirit, he began to compose Srimad Bhagavatam. So after compiling all of the Vedas and all of the Upanishads, all the Puranas, and all the supplementary Vedic literatures, he then wrote Srimad Bhagavatam as the essence of all essence. And thus, this Srimad Bhagavatam is compared to the ripened fruit. Right? So what is a ripened fruit? We know. What is the essence of a tree? It's fruit. And the most relishable fruit is the ripened fruit. That is ready to be enjoyed by Krishna first. And then by all of us. So if all the Vedic literature is represented by a giant tree, the Srimad Bhagavatam is like the ripened fruit of that tree. So it has the essence of all Vedic literature, all Shastra contained within it. And it is also complete. Meaning within this Srimad Bhagavatam, if one takes to study, there's nothing missing from it. There's nothing left. Nothing else. One must search for answers. And why it has so much potency, why it's considered more valuable than anything else in the entire of creation, is because it contains the answers to how to find real, lasting, permanent peace and happiness. It gives the exacting formula how one can find eternal peace and happiness. And it is not some theoretical exercise or some abstract process that one can hope yield results sometime into the future. But in fact, it produces immediate responses and immediate results. So that is the great value of Srimad Bhagavatam, is that the results of its study are evident, are tangible. And we can understand from Srila Vyasadeva's experience, until we come to Srimad Bhagavatam and begin to study its contents, we'll not find the real peace and happiness we are looking for. Now, if we were to go to the mall and there was an object that would give us eternal peace and happiness, what is the price that that object would carry in the market? Priceless. We cannot put a value on it? $100?
We can't measure with the value.
We cannot measure with money. So we say it is invaluable. Right? So now what is the value of Srimad Bhagavatam? You cannot put a price on Srimad Bhagavatam. It is invaluable. Because this is the only means to finding real peace and happiness. But just like when a doctor gives us some medicines and says you must take this medicine for 1 year in order to cure your disease. What gives us faith in taking that medicine?
The doctor's authority.
The doctor's authority. And then, is our faith absolute at that point? We have some good faith. But how does our faith begin to build?
Keep taking it.
As we
Keep taking it.
take that medicine and we start to see some results, some improvement in our condition. As our condition begins to improve, I can ascertain, okay, that this medicine that has been prescribed to me, it is potent, and it is just, it is right, and it will achieve my desired outcome, which is freedom from this disease. So similarly, I've made some very strong statements about Srimad Bhagavatam, no? How many of you are fully convinced? Do you know what fully convinced means? You all will walk out of Srimad Bhagavatam and leave everything you own behind. Because if you are fully convinced that this is the only means to happiness, wouldn't you be willing to do that? Ready to do that? And you won't even wait till the end of the program. You'll come and take it from my hands and leave and say, I'll see you later. No, we don't have full faith. That's okay. But how will we build our faith? That you follow in the footsteps of Prabhuji and Mataji, who have decided to bring Srimad Bhagavatam into their home. That is the first step. And then, that is sufficient? What do we have to do? We have to open it. So the first thing we do is we remove the plastic. This plastic is like the biggest barrier. This small film. That's why when we get to Srimad Bhagavatam, first thing we do, remove the plastic. No, we want to protect it. We want to protect it. Yes, we want to protect it by protecting it within our heart. We want to bring its contents into our heart, and there we'll protect it. So, in order to develop our faith, we should take to the study of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is so powerful. And every day, if we just read a little bit from Srimad Bhagavatam, even if we read 1 line, 2 lines, 1 page, whatever time we can allocate, but something, you will experience the proven results of Srimad Bhagavatam. You'll be stunned by its contents. You'll be stunned by the answers it provides to all of your questions. Every one of your questions will be fully answered within the contents of Srimad Bhagavatam. And so much information is here. And we'll come to see how it is through the surrender and worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, that we'll find real peace and happiness in this life. And what we'll see in Srimad Bhagavatam is many pastimes and stories of great personalities who have taken to this process before us. We'll see many pastimes of Krishna himself in different avatars, different incarnations. And how these different personalities and the Lord have interacted and solved so many different situations in the world and brought a circumstance of great bliss and happiness. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is a very practical scripture that's meant to guide our activities and take us from this conditioned state to one of pure bliss and happiness. So we all want it. And it exists within the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, by some great fortune, we have come in its presence. It is not a very easy thing to do. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of the Supreme Lord Himself. So today the Supreme Lord has decided to descend within your home. I don't know what you did in this lifetime and many prior lifetimes, but something extraordinary, because it does not happen by just some, random set of events, but it happens by the blessings of the Lord and by the desire of you and the devotees. So we also desire that all of you will also take this great fortune and bring Srimad Bhagavatam into your home. Even if you have no idea what will do, just having Srimad Bhagavatam in your home is the greatest of all blessings. Let alone if we take to opening it and even reading it. So, I pray that you all will have some strong desire to have Srimad Bhagavatam in your home. How many of you do not have Srimad Bhagavatam yet in your home? Okay. How many of you have a desire to have Srimad Bhagavatam in your home? Okay. You can pray to Srimad Bhagavatam today. And if you want to have Srimad Bhagavatam into your home, we'll make it happen. These devotees are so anxious that even they'll bring it to your home today. Today. Don't think it can't happen. Krishna can manifest anything. So if you have desire, please let us know and we'll bring Srimad Bhagavatam to you. And you can consider yourself then most fortunate. But your fortune will be realized when you open it and start to read. So I pray that you all will read the Srimad Bhagavatam every day. By Srila Prabhupada's unlimited mercy. So I thought, in honor of a very important event, we'll read from Canto 9 of Srimad Bhagavatam as well today. Canto 9, Chapter 10. And this is the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra. So this week we were very fortunate to be in observance of a very historic event. Historic is not relevant. What is relevant is the celebration of Lord Ramachandra's temple finally being re-established at his birthplace in Ayodhya Dham. And we celebrate that with great fanfare. But we should celebrate that with great fanfare for the purpose of understanding how to bring and how to manifest the teachings of Lord Ramachandra into our home, into our life, and into our hearts. Because otherwise, what is the point of establishing some grand temple? Then we just celebrate it for some political purpose, some victory of one over other. But that is a very shallow reason. Actually, to really understand its purport, we must come to understand what is it that Lord Ramachandra came to teach us and to establish within our hearts. And those teachings actually will manifest this Ayodhya Dham within our hearts. That is its purport. And I wanted to read this one verse from 9th canto, 10th chapter, 51st verse, to see how potent the presence of Lord Ramchandra in our hearts and in our consciousness today can be. But this potency will only be there, not by celebration, but by observance and understanding and following the instructions. That is what will bring its potency out. So this verse reads, Tretayam Vartamanayam Kala Krita Samo Bhava Ramarajani Dharmegya Sarva Bhuta Sukhavahe. Translation. Lord Ramchandra became king during Treta Yuga. But because of his good government, the age was like Satyug. Everyone was religious and completely happy. What were they? Completely happy. Sukha. Completely happy. Purport. Among the four yugas, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali, the Kali Yuga is the worst. But if the process of Varnashram Dharma is introduced, each, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, one can become freed from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. This is from Bhagavatam 12th canto, 3rd chapter, 51st verse. If people take to the Sankirtan the movement of chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, they will be certainly freed from the contamination of Kali Yuga. And the people of this age will be happy, as people were in Satyug, the golden age. Anyone, anywhere, can easily take to this Hare Krishna movement. One only need one chant, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, observe the rules and regulations, and stay free from the contamination of sinful life. Even if one is sinful and cannot give up sinful life immediately, if he chants the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra with devotion and faith, he will certainly be freed from all sinful activities, and his life will be successful. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. This is the blessing of Lord Ramachandra, one who has appeared in his age of Kali as Lord Gaura Sundara. So, you can see that Lord Ramchandra was so perfect that by his presence, he was able to manifest Satyuga qualities. So we know there are four ages: Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And as we go from Satyuga towards Kali Yuga, the conditions become more and more degraded. And we see that, right? If we compare, the conditions today versus 50 years ago, we can see how moral values, they have increased. Material assets have increased, but moral values have decreased. Nothing. We're just driving here through one neighborhood, and we're struck. We're saying, homes have gotten bigger, but families have gotten smaller. In the olden days, we had small homes and big families. And today, we have giant homes. Which is better? Just like we have, in the olden days, I show this in our seminar, right? TVs were fat and people were skinny. And today, TVs are skinny and people are, I won't say the word. So like this, we see. So in the area of Satyuga, there was no quarrel. Nobody locked their doors. Why? Because everybody was satisfied with what they had. There was no need for me to take from somebody else. Everybody was fully satisfied. There was abundant facilities. Abundant facilities. Everything was very peaceful. Why? Because there was some good police force. There was some good United Nations type organization. No. There was good consciousness. When the consciousness and the heart are pure, everything becomes right. We look at the contaminated environment around us. How do we clean the environment around us? We have to clean our heart and consciousness first. Then the environment will naturally clean. Because my consciousness will not allow me to take any activities that would pollute Mother Earth. Just giving one example. So in Satyuga, the consciousness was very clear. People lived for 100,000 years. Very long lives. And that happiness was based on following spiritual life. There was no irreligion in this era of Satyuga. But by the time Treta Yuga comes, this condition begins to degrade. And what to speak of today? We see all irreligion. Things have become so contaminated that irreligion is celebrated and religion is not. This is the condition. But this was not always the state. So when Lord Ramchandra was ruling, things were so perfect that the conditions became like a prior yuga. When he was ruling, he had one policy. Anybody could walk into his office in the kingdom and file some complaint. Anybody. There was no appointment needed, no security needed. You could just go in and offer your complaint. And how long was the line to his office? Any ruler this day is willing to have such a policy? Even the mayor of some small city would not allow such a thing. But because everybody was happy, there was no need to restrict anyone. Yet nobody came. It is explained later in this chapter and in the next chapter that the conditions were so nice that people would not even get sick. There was no crime. There was nothing. So this is the perfection of Lord Ramchandra's rule. And we see that Krishna appears in different incarnations. And in doing so, he establishes different purposes or different reasons for these appearances. So we see in Krishna's pastimes, he performs actions that we cannot follow. Right? Anybody is ready to lift Govardhan Hill? For 7 days, 7 nights? Forget 7 days. For 5 minutes? Anybody is ready to lift? Forget Govardhan, just lift this table for 7 minutes. Anybody? So Krishna, we cannot follow his actions. We have to follow his instructions. He spoke Bhagavad Gita, gave us the perfect instructions. But when Lord Ramchandra appeared, actually every one of his actions is a perfect example for us of how to live our life. So we need role models in life. We need them. Everything that we have learned, we have taken inspiration from someone. Every habit, every style of speaking we have, every food, everything, it comes from some influence from someone. That is the nature of learning. That is actually the nature of our absorption. So the question is where to learn from. And Lord Ramchandra provides the perfect examples of how to live our life. So when we study Ramayana, we can take that action of studying and how I can apply these principles in my life. You know, in Lord Ramchandra's life, we see many extremely powerful experiences he had. And if we understand that Lord Ramchandra is the Supreme Lord, he has full powers. Yet, how did he get banished to the forest? How is it that Lord Ramchandra could not know where Mother Sita was? He's all-knowing. How could he not know? How he could not stop some, faulty rumors from taking place in his own kingdom? Like this, we see so many things that we wonder. So why Lord Ramchandra scripted these different activities? Because they are a perfect set of instructions for us of how to live our life full of righteousness. If we pick any example, we'll pick one example just to illustrate. When Lord Ramchandra was about to be coronated king, the whole city of Ayodhya was in ecstasy. This moment they had been waiting for many years finally was coming happen. As soon as Lord Ramchandra appeared, the residents of Ayodhya were waiting for that day in which Lord Ram would be coronated king. It was great excitement and enthusiasm. And we know by divine arrangements that this coronation did not happen. At least at that time. And at that time, Lord Ramchandra shows us something very important. His response in receiving the news that he was not going to be coronated. What was his response? One of great despair and disappointment? He said, what's the big deal? Dasharath Maharaj was completely devastated and completely uncontrollable, inconsolable. He could not be consoled. He was so devastated. But Lord Ramchandra says, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? Not only was he not going to be king, what was he going to do? Live in the forest. Now, how many of us are ready to live in the forest for 14 years? What would be our state of mind? Forget about not getting the kingdom. That we lose the luxury of living under a roof, sleeping on a nice mattress, having hot cooked foods, warm clothing, hot water for a shower, toothpaste to brush our teeth. Sometimes the little things we don't appreciate until we don't have them. How many of us are ready? But Lord Ramchandra just enthusiastically said, okay, I'll go to the forest. No problem. Why? Because he had his attachment in the right place. What is the diagnosis of why we are finding so much difficulties in this life? It is one-pointed. our attachment is misplaced. That's it. If we just fix where our attachment is, everything becomes solved. Everything. So, Lord Ramchandra was not attached to the kingdom. He was not attached to being king, the opulences that would accompany that. He was not attached to the royal power, the big treasury, the opulence, all the facilities. He was not attached to any of that. What was he attached to? Righteousness. He said, Father, you have given your word. And I consider my duty to uphold your word. I am attached to the opportunity to serve your word. Serve. Service. He was not attached to the kingdom. He was attached to the service. He says, if my service is to be in the forest, that will be the source of my happiness. Not this shallow existence of royal opulence. That is not going to give me happiness. So Lord Ramchandra shows us that our attachment should be to the words, the instructions contained within just Shastra. This should be the source of our happiness and its implementation. Otherwise, there will be no actual experience of happiness.